What's happening? Welcome to the 12th episode of the Slapstream with Djordje. I'm super excited we made it this long, and I plan to keep it going because it's always slappy in the Slapsville. And I'm not back in Slapsville. I still don't have my regular microphones and all of that, but I'm ready to introduce another amazing and super unique player. And before I start, I already see that there's a bunch of folks here present. Please let me know if you hear me fine. Not sure if I can do much about it, but please let me know. And especially when my guests join me, let me know if you hear us both fine. Before I introduce me, I would like to remind you to subscribe to the channel. We have lots of cool content coming up. And if you're considering helping us out a little more, make sure to check out the links down below. There are like donations, PayPal, and Venmo, and also Patreon. And shout out to all the new Patreons. All right, we have the first live chat comment, and it sounds great. Thank you. I uked in my car. All right, without further ado, I want to introduce a bass player. We never heard anything like him. Has like truly unique sound, and it's interesting. This is the first time that we're actually meet, but we came like from a kind of like a same circle of friends, which is like my fish tank ensemble circle of friends. He played in the underscore orchestra, and we were hanging out a lot back in the days. All right, I want to introduce Lucas Warford. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
All
So,
right.
how are you?
I'm doing good, waking up. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty early, but I had to choose this time slot in order to have, like people watching us from all
All
over.
over.
It's kind of like
That's
a
how it goes.
convenient. Yeah, I decided to sacrifice my own morning, like to
Amen. It's a
to
worthy
be able to do
sacrifice.
that. Exactly, but it's not too bad, during the this shit show. So,
Yeah.
so how have you been? Like, what have you been doing, like during the since the apocalypse started?
I'm losing my mind. Yeah,
Uh,
you know. Yeah. No, I mean doing I've been trying to embrace the live streams. I mean, we had three big tours planned. Oh, and also too, let me just throw this out there. Anybody needs anything on my instruments or my voice, once we get going, please feel free to let me know if you can hear it okay. Um, yeah, I mean, my band Three for Silver, we had three big tours planned this year. We were going to be on the road for about 6 months. All of that canceled, you know. Like like all working musicians. Yeah, so now just this wasteland of time.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
we'll survive. Since like not many of my audience know you, so
sure.
can we like kick out with a song immediately, so you can show them your style and
Of course, yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, here we go. Well, let us go there, you and I. Will the evening spread out against the sky? The world seems small when we're alone. Woo! Let the moon and stars be our home. Where do I dare? Yeah, do I dare? Well, now, could I turn and be saying, let's stay? I won't prove. Well, I won't prove. I said, somehow I will live through my dying youth, cause I won't prove. Well, in the room, women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. But when I speak, oh, I am not heard. You know I am the trend. Oh, speaking to the birds. Would it have been worth it after all to have squeezed the universe into a ball? Oh, could I cut see, I grow, whoa, oh, I grow, whoa, up, we're on the beach, I wear my trousers roll, cause I won't prove, yeah, I won't prove, oh, well, somehow I will live through my dying youth, cause I won't prove. Well, I should have been born ragged claw, oh, tearing at the seam of nature's law. But I'm just a jockey, oh, and poorly used. Atop my body, neglected and confused. See, we are bound, well, we are bound. Oh, to sleep till we are woken, but then we're drowned. I won't prove, I said I won't prove. Oh, now somehow I will live through my dying youth, because I won't prove.
Awesome.
Waking up.
Waking up, waking up. I think you woke all of us up, and you made Uked in my car smile. So
Okay, good.
that's the goal. We want to make everyone smile.
Okay, good.
All right. So first question, like, how did you come up like with your own technique? It's a very unique. I haven't. I mean, I heard like people like playing percussions on the
Sure.
upright bass, like Adam Ben Ezra, but like
Yeah.
compared like with the traditional slap bass technique, it's not that common. How did you, what was the inspiration? How did you come up with it?
I think two things. One of them was the instrument itself, which we can talk more about, and that is this contrabasin that my friend and I made. It is a in all ways a pretty standard to play upright bass, but it is made out of this metal tub, plywood top, and we did buy the bridge and the fretboard, but yeah. So I mean, it kind of opened the door for a lot of those sounds because it really like rewards hitting upon it in different ways, and of course you can do that on an upright. It definitely is much more of like a metallic percussion instrument in that way. I think that was inspiring, and then also the band itself, Three for Silver. I mean, I think one of the things about it is we really started the band and really formed it around my bass playing. There's usually not a drummer. So we, figuring out how to fill up all that space in a musical, always in a musical way, and in a way that was, kept that percussion and kept that groove going. Because normally, Three for Silver is most commonly just a trio with accordion and violin. So I'm really kind of like the primary rhythmic mover in all ways in that. So figuring out how to fill up that space like a drummer might. I think the first thing I started doing was just adding those like snare beats with the right hand, and it's just kind of grown from there as my ability has as I've continued to work at it and try to refine the idea.
It's definitely a cool instrument, and I can see how it can inspire you. So since you started talking about it, like, what is it made of? There's like metal plates on the side, and it's is it
Yeah,
plywood on top, fingerboard.
yeah.
What is
So we have
the?
just like straight up 2-inch ply, like super straightforward. Just your absolutely standard plywood. In the back is a metal wash tub from Home Depot. Let me tell you.
Oh, okay,
Pull it
got
up.
it.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
you can see we have a banister there as the end pin. Um, yeah, and then my buddy made the neck, and then you just have this tube, basically one piece of wood going from here down to the bottom of the tub, all the way through the body. And yeah, so I mean, we tried to make a very standard construction, but with this mostly just based around the metal wash tub. With the idea being, at first, we just wanted to see if we could make like a cheap bass that would be fun to travel with. That was actually kind of the original inspiration, was just trying to make like a cool, rough and ready travel bass that didn't take up a ton of room. And then it kind of, yeah, just kept mutating and evolving from there, especially in terms of when I started to try to really develop a playing style around the instrument and found it very inspiring to play. And yeah, it's great. I mean, I've quite fun. I actually don't even own a regular upright right now, and it's amazing for traveling too. Because when I fly, I can take the whole thing apart and just put it in a box, and then just put it back together when I land.
So you can put it in a box, or you can put it in that washtub somehow.
You can put a lot of it in the wash tub itself. When I fly with it, I actually just pop everything off because there's only even these four bolts here that are holding the neck on. So I just take everything apart. I put it in a cardboard box that's like about this wide, about this tall, and just check it.
Huh. Well, no oversized, no overweight.
That depends on the person who's checking it in. I've
You
gotten
have to
lucky a few
charm them.
times, and I've gotten lucky some other times. Unlucky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's how it goes when you want to play the doghouse. So, and the fingerboard, what's the, is that rosewood? What is it?
Yeah, this was a pre-made rosewood fingerboard that we got stock. Um,
So
yeah,
that's a standard. So the bridge and the fingerboard are standard. You made
yeah,
anything
yeah.
else?
And this bridge here, you can see that it's a standard bridge,
Okay.
adjustable action, and then we've got some just very standard. Show the headstock, very standard tuners on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you is that like the neck from the bass guitar or something? Like what? Like, or did you buy it, or you made it, or what is it?
oh, the neck. My buddy made the neck here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The headstock also is just the one piece. And then, yeah, and then you can see those tuners there.
Yes. Okay. So standard tuners.
Yeah.
Got it. And what kind of strings are you playing?
I'm playing Innovation Silver Slaps.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. So lots of slappers I think play that. I play steel
They're
strings
great. And
pretty well.
honestly,
Yeah.
the one thing about this instrument, it doesn't really like having steel strings on it.
Okay. You tried it?
Yeah, the tension, I think, is just kind of too high for it. It can't really handle it. I mean, it could do it, but it's pretty unpleasant. But the Silver Slaps work great. And I like those anyways.
Is it like a too metallic? Probably like
It's
with steel strings.
very, the sound is really harsh. Yeah, for sure. It's just like too much metal on metal, that real sharp thwack that you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna sound twangy.
Yeah, big
Um,
time.
so, so for how long have you been playing that bass?
I've been playing this bass for about 5 years.
Okay, and before that you were playing the regular bass?
Yeah, I had started playing. I mean, I've only been playing upright in a focused way for probably about 7 years. And like we talked about, it was actually Izzy, a mutual friend
Hmm.
and bandmate of ours, who first got me into playing upright. And before that, I had mostly been focused on my other weird basses and guitar. But yeah,
We're gonna show the other instruments you made and all of that
sure.
later on. Um, so, and for how long have you been playing with the three for silver?
Three for silver, about 7 years. Yeah.
Oh, 7 years. Oh, okay. So before that, you were playing, if I understood correctly, you were playing lots of jazz manouche, gypsy
Yeah,
jazz.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Then you slowly evolved like into Balkan and world music and all of that.
Yeah,
And okay, and
yeah. I
then
mean, playing an underscore and bands. I mean, gypsy jazz was really my entry point to getting like as a teenager. That was kind of the first thing that got me really obsessed with working on music.
okay, but were you playing bass at that time?
Not really, no. Mostly
Oh,
guitar.
okay.
Yeah,
Ah, so okay, so it was guitar on gypsy jazz and all of that. So you know
yeah.
how to do all those fancy Django chords?
I could do pretty good. You can look up some. Anybody who's watching can go find some YouTube videos of me playing some manouche guitar. But
Okay,
actually, it was a
cool.
lot of that manouche stuff that, especially the chord work with that translated directly to how I approach bass, even on upright. Like those three note gypsy jazz chords, they translate so well to basses. I feel like.
Like, are you talking about the root, third, and the seventh?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Okay.
or they're also called. They're often I've heard them called like Freddie Green chords too. You know, like just those. It has like those the notes. So you like the minor sixth one in Gypsy jazz. That's like the power chord of the Gypsy
Oh, okay.
jazz
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Got it. Huh.
yeah.
Cool. I never knew that. Freddie Green chord?
That's one way that I've heard like Gypsy jazz, like American jazz people refer to those chords as,
Okay.
because apparently he was kind of around the same time was also doing a lot of that same kind of like chunky three note chords on the left hand.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. I'm not familiar with that terminology, but it's, we learn something, every day. Um, so, so you started playing bass with the underscore, if I understood. I found it.
Yeah,
Oh
I was
no, with
playing
the
bass
easy.
underscore. Izzy was the big one. Izzy was the guy who was like, "Here's an upright, play it, no matter how you feel about it."
Oh, okay. So if you guys are not familiar with Easy, that's from the band Easy and the Catastrophics. I actually did one tour and one video with Easy as well. You can you can search it on YouTube. It's the song that I recorded is called "Baby Mama" or "I Hate My Baby Mama" or something like that. But it's a cool song. So check it. We filmed it in Italy. Did you have fun playing with Easy?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was mostly 2 years of doing their Europe tours. I
Uh
think
huh.
we must have just missed each other basically because, um, yeah, and it was a blast. It was a real education for me. I joined. He actually like hired me, seeing me playing electric bass. But then we got over to Europe and found someone who was going to loan us, who was willing to loan us an upright for the whole tour, and was just like, "You got this, just do it." And so, like right at the top of the tour, basically without warning, he sourced an upright and was just like, "You're gonna play this for the rest of the tour because it'll sound better. So go forth and just deal with it." So I really got thrown right into the deep end with that because Izzy, people in Izzy's band also tremendous players. I mean, Emiliano, is one of my favorite sax players ever played with. All yeah, tremendous musicians, and here I am having never done a tour on the upright bass before, and just like holding on for dear life. That was a very very exciting like couple of years and a tremendous education as well.
That band is fun because they play rockabilly, they play like a little jazz, and I
Oh
remember
yeah,
one of the Charlie Parker tunes that we were playing, kind of with the
oh yeah,
rockabilly
he
beat.
he kills that. Yeah, well, Izzy doesn't give a fuck. That's one
Yeah, yeah.
thing for sure. Yeah.
It's a cool band. Um, so I assume, I mean, before Three for Silver, so you did play in a different bands. I'm not sure how much are you doing that now, but I wonder like what like band leaders think about slap when you start slapping. Are they encouraging you, or they were like, oh, you can play it a little less?
You mean like back in the day or now?
Yeah, I'm not sure like how much are you playing outside of your own band. So in your
These
own
days, I
band,
mean,
you're
I've really
you're the
just been
leader. So
doing like Three for Silver has been like my only job, and also pretty much the only band I'm playing in for, a solid 5 or 6 years now. And I'm the leader of that band, so no one tells me what to do with my slap playing.
yeah,
But
that's
in other
well.
bands, it's totally. I have some people like, when I'll maybe play bass for a session or something like that. It's just whatever they want because it's like the style that I play in Three for Silver is really like maximally dense, and that's by design. But there's no drummer, there's nothing to compete with in that way, so it works in that setting, but definitely wouldn't work, with a lot of different types of bands.
Cool. There's lots of slapping with Three for Silver, right?
Pretty much 100% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with Three for Silver, the links are below the video, so you can put down their Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, so you can check them out. Um, and Willow from the accordion player from the Underscore, she plays with you, right?
Yep.
You guys started the band together.
We did. We met in Underscore, and we we started writing music together. Underscore was kind of getting increasingly sort of unstable as a professional like touring entity, and we really hit it off with our chemistry and writing tunes together. And yeah, so I kind of left. I've been touring with Izzy and the Catastrophe. I mean Izzy and Underscore for those couple of years, kind of going back and forth between the two bands. And then we just kind of left those and started Three for Silver, and have been trying to hit that hard ever since.
That's good. Who's the? You said that three for silver. That's a trio. So who's the third person?
Often, as a touring entity, is most commonly a trio. We don't really have a static lineup beyond Willow and I.
Hmm.
We're the core, but we usually bring like a violin player as kind of our most common third. But we've also brought, we had a tour we did in Europe where we brought a dobro player. That was super fun. I mean, yeah, we have a whole satellite, crew that joins on as available.
That's cool. And all those people are based in Oregon. No, you're in
A
Washington.
lot of them in Portland, but not necessarily.
Okay.
We're kind of spread out around the Northwest. And then when the pandemic hit, we're super spread out at the moment. But
Oh, I
it's
bet.
largely been based out of like Portland, Seattle. Yeah.
Okay. And it's like any plans for any shows?
Yeah, actually, this just started coming together. I mean, everything got canceled this year, and then we are working on doing some outdoor concerts in the second half of September in the Northwest.
Oh, nice.
We're going to be announcing those soon. A lot of them are going to be. We're going to have some big shows. Like we're going to have one in Portland that's going to be like a drive-in show where people can drive up with their cars, and that should be
Cool.
pretty cool. But we're also a lot of them are going to be like on people's property that have land to offer. That's going to be quite regulated entry. So we're not going to be promoting it like a regular tour. People are going to have to kind of reach out to the band directly to get an invitation to a lot of these shows. But there are going to be kind of unbelievable. There are going to be some live shows next month.
That's awesome. So so where are the shows? Are they
Northwest. Yeah, I mean
oh,
mostly in the Portland and Seattle area. Yeah.
okay. So whoever is interested in that and in that area in
Yeah.
September should get in touch with you through
Yeah,
social media.
Facebook, Three for Silver on Facebook and threeforsilver.com. We announced the tour last week, and you'll see the dates and the cities start to come up this week. And anybody who wants to, so the way we're doing it, because a lot of these are going to be hosted privately and due to the pandemic in very regulated environments, we're just going to be listing the cities. And if it's a date in the city that works for you, you can email the band. You'll see it on threeforsilver.com. You'll see it on Facebook or Twitter. And we'll send you the details if you want to be invited to that show. So it's kind of the best compromise we could figure out how to do something live
Of
with this
course.
situation.
It's cool. Oh, here's the link for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And again, thanks to Fernando from Buenos Aires who did all these graphics.
Hell yeah,
Uh,
I look legit.
um, Absolutely. He's moving to Spain, so I'm not going to be able to introduce him as Fernando from Buenos Aires anymore.
Which
Okay,
was
do you
sounds
mind
fun.
like you mentioned like that you're making some other instruments as well? Are they
Yeah.
mostly bass instruments or
Yeah,
anything?
every like unique instrument that I've collaborated with somebody to build it they've all been basses. I mean, that's really my primary inspiration, and I think
Okay,
the most interesting thing I have to offer, like as an instrumentalist. So yeah, my basses, my weird basses. Yeah,
that's nice. Do you mind like showing some of those
for sure. Yeah, I'll put
or
this down.
demonstrating a little bit? I'm not sure if the audience is interested, but I am interested.
Hell yeah, they're
And
about to be.
yeah, and we had like
I'll
go ahead.
no, go for it.
We had like a John Stenzel like saying about those Freddie Green chords that Freddie Green used open voiced chords to push through the band.
Sweet.
So those are cool. Go
Boom.
ahead.
There you go. Talking about pushing through the band. Yeah, so this one is the one that I play. I mean, this is kind of my other main instrument that I use the Three for Silver, especially when I'm on tour. The resonator and the upright tend to be the ones that get the most attention. This was a collaboration between me and the fine folks at National. I approached them about 3 or 4 years ago with the idea of doing a 5-string resonator bass. They didn't say yes, they didn't say no. They hadn't made one before and were kind of hesitant about how much they cared about building basses in general. And I was like, well, I'm not going to play it like a normal bass player. Let me come to you. I was going to be on tour in California. And they were tremendous. Jason Workman, who runs the custom shop, is a great guy, super open-minded, flexible, interested in weird ideas. I basically just pitched them like, hey, let me bring my tub, let me bring my bass banjo to National. let me just do like a little demo for all of you. So I basically took my other weird basses at the time, the National, and did like we did like a little pop-up concert in their workshop. And then that kind of sold them on it. I guess it was sort of like an audition when I think back on it, if they would build me this bass or not. But they went for it, and so we collaborated on the design, and then 6 months later it was finished. It is, other than the upright, my very favorite thing to play. It's in an open tuning, so it's C, G, C, G, C. Allows me to get a lot of interesting sounds, tones, types of chords. I get a lot of flexibility out of it in terms of doing finger picking like on a guitar. And more aggressive stuff. And then, you know, it's great for just some straight up like old school rock and roll sound and swing kind of stuff. I'll do a little song on it here real fast, just a little bit. Let's see. Let me pick one. Oh, I was already playing this one. Well, let me know, not where I'm bound, for I'll be anxious all the time. So let me know, not where I've been, for something new I wish to find. Holding me lie down with the snakes, to heal the secrets of the earth. So let me lie down with you, to know the nature of my curse. Now when the devil was lost, the light equaled me. When that devil was found, you know the devil would be. So that's the resonator. Great for slapping too. And of course, let me know how it sounds. Awesome. We didn't do anything.
What have you said? What did you say?
Oh, just letting people know if they need less of anything or more of anything, how it sounds.
I think it sounds pretty good. You know,
all right.
They can tell us in the comments.
Sure.
I wonder what do you guys think about this instrument? Right, I like it. So when you're playing slap on that one, it's mostly bass guitar technique. It's not upright bass.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I would say this one is most similar. This is actually among all my basses, other than the one tuned in fifths, is quite similar to electric. I mean, I think that I've developed like a rhythmic chordal style that I don't see a lot of people doing, especially not like in the kind of genre we play in, but is, you know, is quite similar to you know, electric slap techniques.
So have you played like a regular electric bass before?
Sure. I mean, that's what I didn't have. Sadly, didn't have this when I was a kid, but I did have a regular electric bass. I played that.
Oh, okay. So you started with the bass like early. Oh, so just the upright bass you started 7 years ago. When did you start with the electric bass?
I started playing electric bass with like, I want to say like in college, like focusing on it. You know, I started playing guitar when I was like 13 or 14, and then started like swing guitar. I started playing bass when I was in college, in like a, you know, like a dedicated way. Didn't know what to do with it though. I didn't really have, you know, like the kind of music that I like, electric bass. I couldn't really figure out how to like apply electric bass to it. and definitely with slapping, which I love percussion. I love playing percussively on all my instruments. I couldn't really figure out how to apply like electric bass in a way that I thought was inspiring to these more like bluesy, folky, swing genres that I love, which is one of the things that led me to kind of trying to create these basses, the way that I could slap, I could play these things and have it kind of make sense in the kind of music that I wanted to play.
Of course. That's cool. So what else do you have there?
Sure. Let's
Show
keep
us
going. Let's
something
keep the
else.
wheel of basses spinning.
Yeah, let's do one more. What will you show us now?
The bass banjo.
The bass banjo. All right. Tell us a little bit about it and then play a
Plug
song.
this guy in real fast.
Sure. So they're all pluggable.
Yeah, they're all pluggable.
Cool.
I mean, you know, they definitely make sound. I mean, this is a big acoustic instrument. For the purposes of this kind of thing, you know, it always helps to have some amplification. So this was a creation of a collaboration between myself and a luthier named Ed Davies, who used to live in Portland and moved to Montana. We met, he saw me playing bass, one of my basses, and he was intrigued about my style, and we started talking about things we could do, and he's like, well, I've thought about trying to make a bass banjo. And I was like, bass banjo? You're talking my language. And so then began about a year-long odyssey of experimenting, trying different design ideas out. We wound up with this guy here, the 5-string fretless bass banjo, in an attempt to give it like as much kind of low end resonance as we would. We went with the longest scale we possibly could do with this that I could still conceivably play. So it has like a, if I remember correctly, like a 39-inch scale, which is pretty long for what is essentially like a fretless electric bass style neck. It's very exciting to play. Stop talking about it for a second and just play you a bit of a tune here. I'll start off with bowing, then I'll go into the tune. It's fun to bow. We didn't realize this was going to happen, but then once it was built, it was like, that's a cool sound. Church of the Wildwood, come lay your hammers down. Come to the Church of the Wildwood, come where the lost are found. Where there's a light in the forest, it calls to you. The darkness brighter than day. Oh, Medulia, let your leaves push the sky away. I said, come to the Church of the Wildwood. Oh, come lay your hammers down. I said, come to the Church of the Wildwood. Come where the lost are found. Anyways, messing around on this one.
Do you slap that one much?
Oh, sure, yeah. You can almost get like a curious, like claw hammer kind of sound. Yeah. This one is doesn't get to go out on the road very often because it's quite this giant piece of goat skin over here. It is both huge and a bit temperamental. So tragically doesn't get to go on tour with me very often, but it's mostly kind of a studio instrument, recording instrument, writing instrument. But the live streams have been good for that. I can play whenever I want here.
Yeah, it definitely sounds cool. Is it? But
Thanks.
I assume you play live if you play in around your area in Seattle or Portland.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've definitely spent, after it was built, there was probably 2 or 3 years where I made this like my primary live instrument. Yeah, that and the upright. But yeah.
Oh, cool. And how do you guys travel?
In a car. I mean, in the States, just in a car with a trio, unless there's the whole. Sometimes we have a bigger band, but if it's the trio, mostly just throw everything into a car, hit the road.
Oh, cool.
When we
So
go over to
everything
Europe,
fits?
we rent a van. But yeah.
Oh, good. That's nice. The overhead is smaller than.
It's kind of by design too. I mean, we try to keep those margins like as friendly as possible.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to be on a tour bus now. So let's how many more instruments? Like we'll show the other instruments later on. So we
Yeah, don't worry about it.
keep the audience interested. And you haven't mentioned the tuning on that one.
Oh, this is this E A D G C. So just the one higher string. Other than that, standard.
Oh, like standard bass.
Yeah.
Cool. Is it hard like to switch from one tuning to another?
At this point, I'm playing in like 3 or 4 different tunings at any given show. So I've trained my brain to not care anymore.
Well, that's nice.
And it's yeah. I mean, the tub the tub's just the ADG, and then the resonator is in that open tuning, and then I'll often be playing either mandolin or my fifths bass. So those are in fifths, and then yeah.
Let's go back to the tub. Like, do you mind like showing me something on it?
Oh, of course.
Like show me
That'd be
like the
amazing
lick.
if I was like, no.
Show me the lick like from the first song.
Sure.
I never played the percussive sound on my upright. Maybe I should. But
It's something to think about.
it's interesting. I actually now I'll take that back. Like when I recorded my Atomic Boogie video, I did like some percussive sounds on it. It was like 15 years ago or something. But it's pretty much might be the only time I did it. So
I'm sure there's been times that you've hit the side of your bass. For fun.
yeah. But unintentionally. So I'll take this out.
Yeah.
So I can grab my bass. Yeah.
While he's doing that, definitely would like to encourage anybody who has any specific questions about my instruments or wants to know anything about that. Do feel free to type. I mean, I guess you can type questions into the chat there. Would love to talk to any of you. So.
All right, here we are.
Here we are.
I'm not sure how you can hear. Do you hear me fine? Because I had to take off the headphones.
I'm hearing you fine.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
All right, let's start.
Yeah, so I'll play that. I'm just going to play that groove to remind everybody what he's talking about from that first song. It sounded like this. All right, great. So that's just regular tempo right there. Then we'll break it down. So whenever I'm showing somebody one of these grooves, I like to build it up the same way that I do, kind of when I'm coming up with one. And so we'll start with just the bass notes of it, which is, of course, the foundation of whatever we're doing. So in this case, I'm at C minor, and it's just 1, 3, 7. Sounds like this.
So it's kind of in a rumba feel. 3-3-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can call that groove a lot of things, but yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Beautiful. And I will fill those gaps in between the notes with some standard slapping.
All right, I know how to do that.
I dare say you do know how to do that. Yeah, hell yeah. And then we'll go with just adding one. We'll keep calling it a snare hit.
Okay.
Onto the flip side of that beat, so we'll go. to do that slower here for you. And so we're pulling off from that 3, and as we pull off, that lets the hand go straight, boom, to the fretboard to hit it. I mean the soundboard rather.
So it's after E flat.
Yep.
Okay.
And just like with a drummer, like it really depends on what kind of groove you're trying to impart. So that's got like a nice heavy, 1-2 kind of feel. So that might be it right there that I play for part of the song, if that's the kind of feeling that I'm trying to get. But maybe we want to get it a little more accented, maybe get a little spicier. We can definitely throw another snare hit in there, no problem.
So just like to make sure that snare hit is on the 5th, 8th note, right?
Mm-hmm, I believe so.
Okay.
I'll play that just with the one snare hit again real fast. I wanted to do the 2. Great. We can definitely, but we have the space to easily throw another one in there with that same idea we were doing on the E flat of going. We have that same amount of chunk, that same amount of space there right after the C. So we can definitely just throw another one right in there at the beginning.
Okay, so that will be on the 2nd, 8th note, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I think I got it in this.
Yeah, and then once you get that, once that's all going smooth, I mean, then you've got what I was playing earlier. And you could start throwing in a little triple slap in there as an accent. You could even throw in a fast snare hit before you get back to the 1. But at that point, it's mostly just, some fun.
Okay, let me try with that triplet.
Yep, boom.
Okay, so
yep.
It's kind of hard to get out of the comfort zone, like just not to play. Okay. That's an option too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay. I got the basics of the groove. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
And what else? You said that you can add stuff on the.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I definitely strategically use open strings to give myself a big 1, so that I can then follow that up with different fills on the body. That song that I was playing earlier, with the 5 being a G, then gives a lot of really, really obvious opportunities to do that, because I could do something like playing that groove, following it up with a 5 chord, the G, hitting some open notes. I'll put that in context and break it down. So yeah, and then breaking that down. So I'll go slow.
Okay. So you're doing the pattern twice, and then over 2 measures, you're doing the something here. All right?
I'm hitting the big D and G right at the top. And then following that up there with a left, left, right, left, left, right.
Okay.
right hand.
right? Something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, training my left hand to want to go down there first was definitely extremely unnatural at the beginning. You always kind of want to lead with the right.
That's the groove?
Yeah. I think if you get that works great too. I tend to get my left hand in there even faster, so it sounds like it's really just like the next eighth note, you know, that I'm throwing that left hand down.
Well, I have to figure out that like in a faster groove. I'm just super slow now.
You're doing great.
It's kind of weird, like, because I'm used to this, that it's so hard, like, kind of like to play this as a second eighth note. Okay.
That's great.
Okay. All right. I think
you did great.
I got it so far.
I think so.
I wonder, like, if anyone else tried it. Write down in the live chat. It's a cool thing. And you never heard anyone else doing that before?
I am the worst when it comes to studying other musicians. I live in a little hole where I do my own thing, and for better or worse, I barely pay attention to anybody else. I'm not saying that with pride. It's just a true statement about myself.
You're like a crazy scientist.
That'd be the positive way of putting it.
All right.
Well, you got real hard to hear when you put those headphones in. Maybe if you could turn that up. Or is that just me? Maybe it's just me.
You cannot hear me that well?
You just got real low once those headphones went in.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let me know in the live chat if you can hear me fine, or this is the... Just let me know what would you prefer, headphones or no?
All right, I'll take off the headphones. Is this better?
Woo! I like that more, but that's just me.
Okay. All right, so I'll wait for the comments. But for now, let's go with your preference. This leads me to another question. Like, so who would be your bass influence? And yeah, who would be your bass influence, either on bass guitar or specifically on the upright?
Sure. I think on the upright, I don't know. I will tell you that when I was a teenager, I heard the first Twelfth Hydukes album, and that was probably my first time hearing Slap outside of like an American music context. And I grew up in Florida. I did not grow up around this kind of music at all. I did not grow up in a family that had this kind of music around, so it was quite like an adventure for me to introduce myself to these things. That was a big moment for me. I think it's a song, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Terciska on their first album.
It's Turcheska, and it's not the first album. It's on the album Honorable Brigands.
Honorable Brigands, Horses,
yes.
Horse Thieves, and the Magic Eye.
Yes.
The best album.
I believe ever. That was the first album that was released in US.
Got it.
But there are a few albums before that. I studied the Hydukes a lot, but and the song is called Turcheska.
Turcheska, thank you.
Which means Turkish dance.
So you know 100% better than me, obviously. But all I can say is that I heard that fucking song and it blew my mind because it has that riff on there that's something, I'm going to get it wrong, but it's something like... Like when he does that, that's just like that much of that lick. And I was like, what's happening? That's amazing. You know, I'm like 14 at the time or something.
It's a cool lick. I call it double rumba because it's 3-3-3-3-2-2.
Yes, hell yeah. that's the
Oh, it's
one,
finished.
right?
But yeah,
Because it has that, right, and then the core of that is that feel, just that like. I heard that and I thought, man, I want to do whatever that guy's doing. A very
it's a
simple
cool thing.
moment. Yeah, of just being, and to me that was totally alien. You know what I mean? I'd never heard anything like that. It was totally outside what I'd heard somebody do on an upright and what I'd heard the kind of genre it happened on an upright. And then I don't know. Yeah, I wanted to be able to do that.
It's definitely one of the coolest slap bass solos for me as well. I
Oh
love
yeah.
it. And that song was played by Vlad Viorel. I had the chance to hang out with him and share licks with him quite a few times.
Nice.
Great dude, and
That's
I love
amazing.
that band. It's
That's
I learned a
extremely
lot,
technical.
like like from about like Romanian Romani music from Tara of the Herduks, because they have like a different music forms that we don't have it here in the U.S.
Sure.
Nor like we have some in Serbia, but not like those. They have Serba, which is apparently Serbian dance, but we don't have that in Serbia, that group. So that might be something that back in the day they were trying to copy something that they heard from Serbia. But that groove is pretty cool. It's triplets through the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, usually played on a cymbalum, but
Yep.
that's fun. There's a Jamperale, there's Brew.
Mhm.
There's quite a few of those. It's
Yeah.
well, it's a rich music. I love music from that part of the world.
Oh, I haven't had the chance to go to I haven't had a chance to go to Romania or Serbia. Those I have had the chance to spend a few weeks in Bulgaria, which was amazing, and we got to do some touring there, which was fantastic. I love playing Bulgarian music too.
Oh yeah, was that with 3 for Silver?
It was, yeah,
Oh cool.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you're playing some Bulgarian music with the band, right?
I do, yeah. So Willow is so I'll play bass with whatever I can get my hands on, and I love playing like mixed meter, especially those Balkan mixed meters. Willow has gone a lot deeper into really studying the music, learning. She can sing in Bulgarian and Macedonian and Romanian. She's learned a lot of songs from those languages, and we love to incorporate that. We kind of have a policy, like every 3 for Silver show, like we have like one kind of Balkan song per set. And we'll either do something like real groovy that she can show off her voice, or maybe we'll do like a real fast mixed meter one that's very shreddy and kind of has that nice dramatic energy.
It's cool. I love playing odd time signatures. It's really, really fun, especially Bulgaria.
It lends itself. I feel like the division of the beats that lend themselves so naturally to the way the slapping divides itself.
Absolutely. I'm really surprised that there are not that many upright slap bass players that play odd time signatures, Balkan style.
I feel the same way. I mean, I've done like workshops in the Northwest too, with some, especially like at Folk Life. Have you ever heard of that in Seattle?
Yeah.
Been to that? Yeah, Folk Life. I've done Balkan slap things there for bass players of being like, it's so easy. They're already in 2 and 3. It's just combinations of 2 and 3. You're already doing combinations of 2 and 3. So go forth and slap over everything. But yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a fun thing. Any other slap bass players on the upright besides Vlad Viorel from Tarev de Heduks that influenced you?
Nothing's coming to mind. I probably could find ones that were amazing to me, but I haven't because I'm dumb.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a niche thing. Like you're really into it, and then you have your own people that are influencing you. So it's a weird scene. That's why I'm doing these slap streams, because I really want to show how you can use slap in really any music genre.
Yeah.
And it sounds really interesting. Most of my audience was rockabilly and psychobilly because of Tiger Army, but then people realize how they can use this style in any genre. So it's pretty
for sure.
cool.
I think you trying to connect the dots on this community is pretty invaluable because I'll meet individual players and maybe we'll connect at a show or through a band or something like that. But it does really kind of feel like this disparate community of weirdos, all like trying to build these styles that all wind up in these cool. And that's the other, I think, beautiful thing about it is, since there isn't really much of a, like, I want to use the word like pedagogy behind it, of like how to teach it and how to necessarily do it. I feel like you wind up with, everybody winds up at similar but really unique places that I think is amazing and is kind of unique among a lot of instruments.
Absolutely. I'm trying to organize that all. Like,
that's great. You know, somebody needs to. Hopefully you'll go down and bass history as the man who finally organized us all into some kind of loose confederation of slappers.
Since we started talking about it, I would like to hear what kind of terminology are you using when you're explaining your slap patterns?
Sure. Usually I will. Yeah, I mean, most of my playing that's not the more eccentric playing on the body comes down to combinations of like a one, what I'll call a one, or a two, or three, which of course could also be swung and not just like I was doing just a straight triplet there. And the double stops, you know. And then combining 1, 2, 3s, double stops, not getting into the percussive stuff. I haven't really done a lot. I do see other players who do like these really cool like rolls, and they really seem to work well with especially like metal strings and stuff, like these cool rolls across the fretboard. I haven't messed around with that too much, but yeah, you know, basically if I'm trying to show somebody patterns or how I approach what I do, it usually comes down to combinations of, you know, how are we going to take a 1? How are we going to take a 2? How are we going to take a 3, 4? How are we going to break those rhythms down depending on what the groove of the song is? Do we need straight triplets? Do we need something swung? Do we need a combination of those things? And I always, I think more like a drummer than anything most of the time. Like I think I'm primarily always thinking groove, and then yeah, that's always the foundation for sure.
You seem that you count like the same way as I do. So this would be a single slap for me. I count both slaps of the string and slap of the palm slap, or whatever you want to call it. Sure. So then this would be a single, and this would be a double, and then this is triple, and as well, and this is triple as well, except the first one I call gallop, and the other one triplet, since it's a triplet.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And quadruple is the same one that you call 4. So, and the one that you mentioned about a roll, are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I call it roll as well. You know, some different ways they could do it. Then you can call it, you know.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Right, it's like so many paths to these same sounds. Yeah, it's wild.
It's there's different ways to do it. It sounds like a little bit different, but I in general call it roll as well.
Sure.
Any other slap bass players that you like from that play now?
Are we still talking about upright specifically?
Yes.
You're great. Great job.
Thanks.
I mean, probably. I can't think of one that I'm like, yeah, because these days especially, I am the worst. I encounter new music by being at shows and connecting with musicians, but holy shit, do I like not sit around listening to music these days. Yeah, it's like so much time spent writing and working hard on my own thing. I always feel like I'm playing catch up too. You know, most of the people that I play with have been playing these instruments since they were kids or whatever. And I'm always like, yeah, I started playing it 5 years ago. Fuck me, right? So I spend a lot of time just always feeling like I'm like grinding. Yeah, but it's positive.
Well, you did something that, you know, all of us are trying to achieve, which is like excuse me, finding your own voice in the whole genre. So that's great. You know, you have your own uniqueness, and that's something that I always appreciated the most. You know, I
Thank
prefer
you.
when I hear somebody having sound like himself.
Sure.
And even if it's not that good, you know, I'm not talking about you, like, but
I hear what you're
but I'm
saying.
saying, like, you know, even if I would prefer if somebody is unique and not that good,
Yeah.
but comparable, like, to somebody that mastered someone else's, you know,
Sure.
sound, and
Man,
it's
I
different.
hear what you're saying, and I mean, definitely, I always have a lot of self-consciousness around other upright players because my style is very, very rough and ready in comparison. I didn't study it formally. I didn't study classical style. I've just thrown myself at it, and I feel like I have. Yeah, I feel like confident doing what I do, but there are so many things on the instrument that are beyond me. I never bow it, for instance. I mean, I technically could, but it's not something I put like a professional level of energy into. Yeah, but I have
Oh, the
focused
banjo.
on bow the banjo. Goddamn right. Um, but I have like, yeah, I think those formative couple of years with Izzy really supercharged that because all those guys are professionals for decades. Izzy's been fucking touring forever. Like Emiliano, these guys, such fantastic players.
Emmy is
Um,
great. I love Emmy. Emmy did some saxophones like last week for my new solo record that I'm really excited
nice.
about. He's excellent. He's
Yeah,
super
he's
nice.
amazing. And then his drummers, like I don't know if he played. I don't know if Nick White was on your tour or not.
No,
But
it was Gasper from
okay,
Israel.
okay, cool. I never did a tour with him, but yeah, I mean, all these guys, it's like these are all killer players, and I'm just like, all right, so I can't all of a sudden have been playing this instrument for 15 years. How can I find a sound that is still going to be like, well, I haven't heard that before. You know what I mean? And I think that really sent me off on this path of trying to like, how can I just do my own thing?
Absolutely. Well, you're on a great path. Um,
Thank you.
how about your vocal influences? You were singing.
That's just mostly me figuring out how to sing as loud as possible. I didn't start singing until I was like 25 or 26. I was always super self-conscious about my voice because when I got to about, teenager, post puberty, like my voice is not pretty, you know. And so I, for a long time, I was just scared to do anything with it. I of course love guys. I love old blues singers. I of course love guys like Howlin' Wolf. I love Tom Waits, of course. People who just don't seem to give a fuck and use that growliness to an artistic, in an artistic way. Certainly, were inspirational to me. Or guys like Captain Beefheart, ways of like using that not traditionally beautiful vocal sound to artistic ends. Um,
So Tom Waits' influences as well.
oh, for sure, yeah, he's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. I'm saying, like, so all these guys are influences. They influence Tom Waits as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, at this
Yeah,
point, you get to look at all of them. He had the benefit of guys like
definitely
Howlin'
that
Wolf
thing.
or
Yeah,
Muddy Waters, but now I get to have all those guys.
yeah. That's great. Um, I want to ask you, like, to show us some of the other instruments that you
Sure.
made. There's still a couple of those, right?
We are running out of. I mean, really, the main three in terms of like totally unique are the resonator, the banjo, and the tub. I can play a little bit of this guy, which is still not really something I've seen much of. It's just the bass, that this hollow body four string I keep in a fifth tuning, so it's kind of tuned like a giant. Yeah, I mean, violin, cello, whatever. I kind of think of it like a giant tenor guitar. Um, yeah, it allows for. I really love the fifth tuning. I started playing a lot of mandolin in the past few years, and tenor banjo, which really kind of set me off on the fifth tuning. And then I was like, how can I get a bass into fifth tuning that I can actually be like reasonable to play? And I found this four string that has a slightly shorter scale length than most other electric basses that I've seen. And so I was like, perhaps this is the one. And so I put this into fifths and started messing around with that, and it allows just for some interesting sounds and rhythmic patterns that would be otherwise more challenging with the fourths tuning. But I can play a little bit here, see what happens. Well, the sailor won't keep his hands in his pockets, who write his letters in red. Oh, bad luck is slapping news. We know into how it spreads. I said a sailor killed a wren on New Year's Day and nailed his right boot to the mast. Well, he never whistles on board, they say, but wakes each morning with his flask. Oh, beneath the roots of the ocean, under the shade of the sea. Oh, you gather these laughing bones, and darling, babe, nothing for me. I said, above the branches of clouds, atop the crown of the sky, you let your tears fall and join the waves where I lie. Oh. But it's a lot of fun, yeah. And also just not something I'd seen people doing, so I started doing it.
Sounds cool. So how would you call that instrument?
Bass, hopefully I'd call it a bass and other people would agree with me.
And it's a regular tuning, right?
This is fifths, so...
Oh, fifths.
Yeah, E, B, F sharp, C sharp.
So, oh, so it's different than national.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Wow, so those are 3 different tunings that you're doing, right?
Yes.
Wow, okay. Anything else that you wanted to demonstrate as far as those instruments, or that's it, right?
Those are kind of my main instruments. My main basses, those 4, yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that I don't miss anything. So as far as slap players, so you were not influenced by rockabilly or psychobilly pretty much at all, right?
Yeah, I have pretty much no knowledge of that genre beyond what Izzy exposed me to, and not like in a judgmental way. I'm just ignorant,
Yeah. I understand. I mean, I'm just mentioning rockabilly because most of slap bass players these days, for better or for worse, like were exposed to slap like through rockabilly, and unfortunately, not many players have interest outside of rockabilly. Rockabilly is some of my favorite stuff, and psychobilly as well, and I kind of built my whole career around it. But I was always interested through slap to discover different music styles, not just through slap, but just to discover other music styles. But then I wanted to incorporate slap in all of those, and then kind of creates its own thing. So I got a comment from James. Can you break down the roll? Is it like a drag? Well, I'm not going to do that because this episode is about Lucas and not me. But it's similar to drag. I'm just not dragging my fingers. I'm using mostly the bottom of my thumb. And I can explain some other time the difference and why I do it this way, why I do this pattern. Let's go back to Lucas. You got lots of cool comments. It sounds really good. So much fun. I do not understand this off comment. If Jim doesn't mind explaining that, please do that. All right, let's continue. So as far,
or is it just, it doesn't matter? I'm just curious.
Yeah, they're like, well, they'll be there, like after YouTube process the whole video, in a few hours, all the comments are back. So, but I would like to remind you guys, like, please let me know who would you like me to feature next. write down in the comments. I already have like quite a few great people lined up. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell. That means something for YouTube. So you get a notification when I go live and upload new content. So that way you're going to be up to the speed in the slap bass world in slap style. So we talked about your instruments. We talked about the strings that you're using. What about the amp?
When I'm playing on, it depends. If I'm on tour, like especially in Europe, where we've kind of been doing better than America, so we've been hitting that pretty hard. I won't use an amp. I just use pretty bare bones setup. I have a preamp that has a XLR out on it, and I'll just use monitors for that. And well, one great thing about the tub is that it is tremendously. I mean, I think its lack of resonance in comparison to a regular upright, it is tremendously feedback resistant. So I have a super bare bones stage setup for the tub. It is just one of those. Who's the people who designed it? Let me look real fast. I want to get their name right. I'm blanking on the name. I want to find it. I'll show it up. Here. Well, here it is. Oh, mysteries.
Okay.
I'm running away. No one can stop me. Yeah, that Golden Trinity system, which just has like a microphone in the body and then like a saddle pickup. And then, one of these real standard like Fishman DIs. And that's all I tend to use. Tuner.
It's interesting. I never used the Fishman preamp, but I see that lots of people do. So how do you get that kind of like this distorted sound from the amp?
I think that a lot of it actually comes from the tub. I mean, it is kind of like a resonator, like you think like a resonator guitar, like there's always kind of a bit of a buzz going on, similar. I can never quite get all of the, there's always something kind of rattling loose on the tub. And so, part of it is just its natural tone is a bit crunchy, a little bit distorted sound. I mean, it's not actually distorting, right? You're just getting some of that metallic jangliness coming through. I don't tend to use amps. I'm just running through this Ampeg right now, which I have the luxury of doing because I'm just in this room all the time this year. But
so you haven't been living there for a while, or?
I actually wound up. No, I was in Portland. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty fantastic how it went down. We had like a 4-month tour planned in Europe and Ireland. And we had moved out of our spot. We were in these, we'd actually just moved out of our spots that the band was living in because we were like, the tour was so long, we didn't feel like dealing with it. And then we got over there. Our first shows were in Czech Republic. We got like 2 shows in, and then the pandemic blew everything up. And we had a very exciting week of trying to get back to America. And
so you were in Europe.
We were there, yeah. I had just played a show in Ostrava in Czech Republic when Trump put that travel ban thing in place.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that was exciting.
Ooh, great! And so you came back and found a new place around Seattle, and that's it.
Yeah, we've all been scattered to the wind the rest of this year. Our violin player went back to his family's place in California. Willow went to her family's land in North Carolina, and then my girlfriend and I found the sweet place to be in Bellingham. So Bellingham, if you don't know it, both you and internet at large, is like the extreme northwestern tip of Washington. So it's basically the last stop before you hit Canada.
Huh. All right, I'll keep that in mind next time I'm on tour coming back from Canada. I was supposed to go on tour to Canada and US like about 5 days after the close down. So
yeah. I mean, we kind of saw it coming, but there was very little we could do. Like none of the like bookers and none of like the clubs were wanting to take it seriously in Europe, and they were our tour was mostly like Czech, Germany, Austria, and we were like, "You guys worried about this? You worried about this? You worried about this?" And they're like, "No, it's gonna be fine." And then we get over there, and I mean, they didn't shut it down. The government shut everything down. Especially, in Czech, they were just like, "State of emergency. Everything is closed starting now."
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty amazingly horrible timing in that way. But it was an exciting week. Exciting for all the wrong reasons. Yeah.
Whew. It is what it is. We all have to deal with it. What else? So, all right. So, I would like to ask our audience if you have any questions for Lucas. Now's the time to do that.
We can talk about it literally.
You got another great comment. Lucas is a great teacher. He breaks it down in a very simple way. I always appreciate that. Thank you.
I think that's the first time anybody's ever said that to me. Thank you.
Oh, you see, you should do this more often, like explaining stuff. So the best way, like, to people see like what you're doing and what the band is doing is Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram definitely are two most active platforms, but we keep everything up to date on 3forsilver.com, and you can catch us on Twitter too. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram. We are doing live streams every Sunday from the band's Facebook page. So we aren't in the same place right now, so we just kind of do 3 separate little shows with each of us individually. But that's kind of fun because you can see we all have such different sounds. You can kind of really get like see the different influences of where we're each coming from. So yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, you can tune in Sundays at 3 for Silver's Facebook page, catch a live stream, and there'll be one tomorrow. And they're pretty loose, pretty free form. I'll take requests, talk to the audience. I'll learn covers. I've had one fun thing during the live stream. People have been sending me covers to learn, and I'll learn some of them and perform those. And of course, when I do a cover, it usually sounds pretty fucking weird. So yeah.
Cool. And so, just to mention, the links are below for all the 3 for Silver websites and here on the side.
Hell yeah, man! Look at that. It's so great.
So you know where to go if you want to hear more of this. So you guys do not play actually together for the band's live streams. You play separate, right?
Tragically not right now, just because we haven't been able to be in the same place.
I mean, like for the live streams, that's what I'm talking about.
You mean like doing the multi-screen kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we've just been going on the Facebook page. All of us really just have our phones with some microphones, maybe an audio interface. So it's been easier to just do I'll do a live stream, and then Willow immediately starts one, and then Corwin immediately starts one. So just kind of like 3 separate little mini streams that you can tune into, one after the other. But yeah, 11 a.m. on Sundays, Pacific time. Check it
out. You got another question from Brad. It says, any particular musical influences? I believe you mentioned like Guitar of the Hydux, sure. But besides that,
well, for me, like Django, a very standard starting point, and the most famous entry point into that world. But once again, as like a random teenager in Florida who was not around any of this music, when I was about 13, 14, something like that, I heard a Django song or album, and that was like my Jimi Hendrix moment or whatever. That was like the thing that made me start playing guitar. So swing music, American folk music, but mostly like swing has always kind of been at my heart. Like that's probably the core, I feel like, of music that I really love, and certainly when I, as a kid, spent the most time playing. And I listened to all sorts of things, but yeah, in terms of the stuff that really got me into trying to be a professional musician, certainly the gypsy jazz, swing music, Django specifically, was what opened that door.
What would be an advice that you would give to your younger self, like when you were starting playing upright bass and playing music in general? Is there any shortcuts that you would give to yourself, something that could help out our audience, like if they want to learn, slap and bass music?
I think that I would have told myself to not stress out about finding a teacher and not stress out about studying music formally, but try to start playing shows as many and as often as possible. I had pretty bad luck with ever finding a teacher that I resonated with, and I thought about going to music school. I very much didn't like that environment and didn't do that. Um, but I feel like I did waste a lot of time thinking that I kind of needed to attain something before I could get on stage, when I would much rather somebody just start throwing it out there into the world and like figure it out as they go, than feel like they have to present something that's fully formed by the time you get on stage. That's great, but that's one of the things I love about my band is we'll just start playing new songs immediately, like when we almost have no even clue what those songs are yet. I think of it like stand-up comedy. Like you can't, you got to tell a joke and see if it lands or not. You can't just keep it around in your head all the time, and you got to perfect that stuff on stage. So I really believe in just getting up there and going for it. And I think my younger self, I would have told him to, just start playing shows all the time. Like just start performing. If you want to be a performer, then just start performing. Don't feel like there's these other gates you've got to walk through first.
That's a good advice. Like I found out that, for some people, like more of a structured, like a school system works great. For some people works terribly, kills their creativity and everything. And for me, structure system kind of, I think it opened me up a little bit, like to different music styles and just understand music. It's a very unique thing. It's hard to say what's better. Another question, like what would be your advice for people that want to get out there, want to start touring? How do they get a gig? Like, what is the best way, by your opinion?
Well, as somebody who's been largely, I've been making my living as a musician for the past, I'm 33, by the way, since I was about 22 or 23, so about 10 years. And have been pretty much independent that whole time. We do now have an official booker / manager in Europe, but in America, it's still totally just us doing our thing. We don't have a label. We don't have a full-time manager or anything like that. So I do think I have a pretty lot of experience of successfully doing it myself. The beautiful thing about the internet is that you can just get a good sounding album up there. Even more than that, get a good video up there. I think our first like actual music video did more for us than the first 2 albums that we put out. Get some good video up there, write the songs, and just start emailing everybody. Emailing everybody in your town, email all the clubs you can. Obviously, it's largely dependent on what style of music you play. 3 for Silver, there's a lot of the way that we structured the band that definitely is tailored to trying to do this weird style of music, this niche, not mainstream style of music as a living, that involves what's the smallest number of band members that we can get away with? 3. Like what, can we play anywhere? Pretty much yes. We can plug into a big sound system at a festival, make a lot of noise. We can also play in a small listening room totally acoustically. Like that maximum flexibility, we can say yes to every gig. You know what I mean? And that was huge too, because it is tough these days. I think it has gotten a lot harder to be a professional musician. I think incomes have taken a huge hit. So you really got to figure out like, how can I take it from everywhere that I can find it? And just start doing that. Just start playing shows. It's like, once again, if your dream is to be playing every night of the week, we'll just fucking start figuring out how to book those shows, or, maybe considering somewhere moving. Like, I don't know what it's like in LA. I haven't spent a ton of time there. I have spent a lot of time in New Orleans. You can do a lot of gigs there every day if you want to, but maybe not.
Yeah, New Orleans is a special place. I think that's one of rare places, besides maybe Austin, where you can actually play every night fairly easily, and sometimes you even play like a few times per day. I remember whenever I was checking out Ryan Gould's a website or MySpace back in the day, he was playing like 3-4 times sometimes per
right.
per day. It was crazy.
New Orleans
and
is
like lots of my New Orleans jazz friends, they play every night. I mean, they used to before this the apocalypse. So they used to play like every night, or during the day on the street, and then they will play at night, at clubs. So it's a cool kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, John, we all love New Orleans. All right, so I have one more question for you before before I ask you to play something. Yeah, but I wanted to ask you first, like, do you have anything that you wanted to mention that I haven't talked about?
Yeah, it's been great. It's cool to be able to do. Yeah, I mean, I think that this platform is fantastic. I really admire you for putting the energy in to do this. Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to bring more attention to my unique instruments, but hopefully inspire other people to do that too. You know what I mean? Like National would make one of those basses for anybody. You know, the tub, those could be made again or played in that way. I'm always looking for. I have like some students in the Northwest that I've had, but I'm always looking to hopefully inspire people to like go to these more. Where do the limits of these instruments lie, and how can they fit into these styles of music that maybe you didn't think to try.
Absolutely. And like, do you make like some of those instruments like for sale, or you just made them for yourself?
The tub a person could buy. There aren't any. It would have to be made to order for them, but there are some people who have bought them. There's been a few people who've bought tubs. They go for about 1,000, depending on materials and things like that. The Resonator National would build for you after they made the design of mine. It's sitting there waiting to be. They could make another one. National tends to just make instrument unless they have some in the shop. They tend to do it by you get the order and it would be pretty expensive, but definitely anybody could buy one. Yeah.
All right. So one more question before I ask you to play something on the tub is like, what inspires you to still do what you do after all these years?
I think the shortest answer, yeah, you tend to. Izzy and I used to talk about this too because I remember it was a very fascinating question to Izzy, and they were always kind of seemed like there were two camps of people. Like there were maybe people who got some success or had some opportunities and maybe wrote it for a while and then it didn't work out anymore. And then there were definitely the lifers who just didn't have a choice. And I guess I've always felt like that. It's what I do. And even I think this year has been a tremendous chance to try to test that. I've been denied the main thing that I do, which is perform on stage. Now I start doing these live streams. I mean, I'm going to keep doing this no matter what. And if I have to go out on the street and busk, I'll do that. I don't mind busking. Yeah, I live to perform. I live to play music. And it doesn't require it. I'm a pretty like perpetual motion machine in that way. It doesn't seem to require much outside energy input to keep that thing rolling.
Yeah, it's hard like to explain to normal or regular people that we don't have like much of a choice.
Yeah,
this is
sure.
it. Like you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And even when we try to find like some way like out of it, like, so this always comes back.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way of putting it. Like you don't have a choice. Like I don't feel like I have a choice. Yeah, I feel like I just have to, but not in a negative way. It's just it's what I do. It's who I am. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what is the what do you want to play next?
Well, I was thinking about playing Get Low, which is for a couple of reasons. One, it's a different style sounding than the one that I played at the top of the show. And then also there's a fun music video people can go watch for it on the YouTube, where I'm beating the hell out of the tub in front of a crowd of people. So that's fun. But yeah, it's a nice, just like up tempo swing kind of tune.
Cool. Let's do that. I'm excited. I saw the video. The video is on your YouTube channel, right?
It is, yeah. It makes
All right.
it's always real surreal doing this. I've also really appreciate being invited onto this platform because I really mainly think of my upright as being something that only exists kind of in the context of my band and supporting the band, and so it's a fantastic surreal challenge to do it just like by myself. but I'll
Oh,
try to,
okay, that's
yeah.
actually I forgot about it. That's what I wanted to ask you. Like you, so you could easily play a whole show by yourself. You never do that, right?
I appreciate you saying that. I've been doing these. If you want to see what that's like, people who are watching, you don't have to wonder. You can tune into one of the live streams and just find out. Um, I mean, with the other basses, it's easier. Like when I'm playing with the upright by myself, it's basically like I'm playing drums by myself. It's not like that's unpleasant, but I wouldn't maybe want to subject an audience to it for a long time.
But
Uh,
I think like combining all these instruments and you're singing, you could have like a one man show. Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been trying. God damn, I've been trying this year to get comfortable with it. I mean, I never thought I would spend more time performing by myself than this year. God, so yeah, I've been trying, man.
Yeah, this is the weird one, and yeah. Well, you sound good doing it, so I think that's kind of like a good thing to think about it. Like that. At
Thank you.
least something came out good out of this whole year. We kind of challenged ourselves and
No
see
doubt.
what else we are capable of doing. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's cool. And you mostly play your own songs, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll do random cover. The covers tend to come in with like the Balkan material.
Okay.
Those tend to be the only things that are a cover during a show. But yeah, the focus is definitely all on the originals.
All right. Go ahead.
All right,
Play
let's see what
play
happens.
one more.
No, no, I don't know. She just wanted good, people just want to keep it simple, yeah, but everything was balanced on a night. Well, scared if you meet them, scared if you see them that you might fall off into the rest of the night. See, there's a desert waits inside of every mountain, like there's a fire waits inside of every tree. Oh, there's a wish waits inside every fountain, like there's a ghost that waits inside of me. So get low from the widow's wall. Get low, yet stay on top. Get low from the altar. Get low from that butcher's card. See, well, I don't even know. I don't even know. Oh, how these old bones grow. I can't even care. And on this shadow in the light, well, in the light of this world. So I push that candle into the flame. Oh, well. Then I drive a starry cloud. I'll pin that cloud on the horns of the moon. And well, I will walk among you now. See, there's a flood waits inside every river. Oh, there's a dance waits inside every cell. Oh, there's a hope waits inside every giver. Like there's a word waits inside every breath. So get low from widow's wall. Get low, yet stay on top. Get low from the altar. Get low from that butcher's cart. Get low from the black and action. Get low, you join that easy class. Get low from those behind. Oh, if you want to stay up higher. So get low from one drink too many. Well, it was you who sent me let the blows rain down. Last one never makes a sound, so well, I'll give you till the end of the week. Those who know don't speak. I'm living out on the road. See, those who speak don't know. Well, I don't even know. I don't even know. Oh, highly, so bones grow. I can't even guess. And on this shadow in the light, well, in the light, well, in the light of this world.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for everything.
Hold
Thanks
up,
for being a guest.
I can't hear you. My
Can't
earphone
you-
thing fell out whilst I was playing. Talk now?
Yes, yes.
There we go. Got it.
Okay. I wanted to thank you for being a part of the Slapstream 12th episode. And thanks for all these amazing playing. Hopefully the gig is going to come back soon so you can come down to California and Los Angeles and Slapsville so I can see you play in live. Say hi to Willow and hopefully we're all going to be able to hit the road soon.
Thank you. You too. Yeah, I mean, let's just. At least you got this going on. Hang tight, and hopefully we'll all see each other out on the road next year.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. All right, that was a 12th episode of the Slapstream with Djordje live from Slapsville. I guess the Slapsville is wherever I'm at. So thanks a lot for your support. Thanks a lot for watching all these videos. I hope you've been receiving emails from Art of Slap Bass about these. And all right, we got a Kevin Smith comment. It's always an honor having Kevin Smith watching these slap streams, the star of the first episode. And if you guys haven't subscribed, please hit, no, it's here. Please hit this subscribe button and ring the bell, like the video, comment below the video, and let me know who would you like me to feature next. As you've probably seen, like I like to feature some real legends and like very well-known people that play slap bass, but I also like to feature also unique people that play slap bass and that are moving the style forward, because I think that's the overall goal. We all have to move forward even during these crazy times. And please check out the donation links that are under the video: Venmo and PayPal, and Patreon. Patreon has been very helpful, so please check out that one. And don't forget, never fret, slide it in smooth and keep it in a groove. This is Djordje, your friendly neighborhood bullfiddle cat, and I'll see you next Saturday.